Welcome to this training screencast. In this screencast I'm going to be covering Dashboard Session 5, which is the Dashboard Navigator. If you haven't watched the previous sessions, it's a good idea to go and watch them. It'll help you to understand what I'm showing in this session number 5. So let's move over to InfoStore. What you're seeing here is the home screen. So this is the screen which you see as InfoStore loads, and this is what we call the home launchpad. Across the top here you can see there are a number of other launch pads. There's an inquiry launch pad, an inquiry report launch pad, and the dashboard launch pad, and that's what I'm going to be showing now. So if I click that, I see a screen that shows me a whole lot of dashboards that I've generated for training purposes. They all have dummy names. And I'm just going to be working across the top here, showing you what all these different items do. So the first thing we can do is sort and group the dashboards. The default is by most used. And we can see over there there's a little header there which says moderate. So each time a dashboard is run, that gets logged against the user's ID, and when the user views the screen it's going to show him or her which dashboards have been used most commonly. And the idea is to put the most commonly used dashboards on the upper left so that they're easy to find. I can also arrange by name. So you can see there's a whole lot of groupings here. So what it does is it picks the first letter of the name and it creates a group. It assigns a color to that group. It just makes it easier to find them as well. And we can also arrange by category. We can see we have a couple of categories there. So that's just a mechanism to sort and group the dashboards and makes them easier to find. But the default when the screen loads is by most used. Moving across, the refresh button is used to reload the screen in case new dashboards have been added. The screen doesn't automatically refresh in this version. That's something we can look at later on. Then we have a favorites checkbox. When I check that, nothing much happens. In other words, I'm not seeing any favorite items. And that's because I need to actually mark them as favorite items. So what I would do is right click, some dashboards, and on this right hand ribbon I'm going to mark those as favorites, and you can see they now have a little star superimposed over them. And when I click the favorites filter, I'm only seeing my favorites. So that's a useful way for a user to go and mark his favorite items. And by the way, all these settings are saved when you exit the application, so next time I load up the Dashboard Navigator, this is what I'm going to see. My items, that shows you the dashboards that you've saved, which I showed in a previous session. And now an interesting one is tags. Okay, so I can actually apply some custom tags to these dashboards. For example, prices. I'm going to add the tag and we see a little tag icon appears there, and it's showing me what the tag is. And up here I can now pick, I only want to see items tagged with prices. And there it is, it filters them down again. So by using a combination of all these different attributes, it's quite a nice way to filter the dashboards down. And you can very easily find what you're looking for. I could, for example, also mark those as favorites. And now that the two tags, or the two attributes, are working with each other to filter the list down. Just going to clear those down and show you what happens in this search box. So the search box is able to filter down the dashboards by name. So obviously whatever name the user enters here, that's going to filter down the dashboards. It doesn't only work on the first word of a name. So for example, that name consists of 3 words. By entering whiskey, I was still able to pick that up. So I think this is really a great step forward. It was quite hard to work with the screen in previous versions, and we try to make it a lot easier by firstly making these items smaller so they fit onto the screen, and then by applying all these different filtering mechanisms across the top.